I'm Alan O'Brien. I came to Landmark in 2008. I came originally as the business manager for the church and school, which allowed me to have a split role. And so that was my foot into church ministry, which came along with teaching. It was part of the package, and I have come to love it. I began to take Bible classes in college and just fell in love with the Bible and thought, maybe I could teach this. And then the Lord led me to Landmark, where a Bible class became something that I have done for now 18 years and truly is a highlight of my life. When I was in 7th grade, my family changed churches, and I was introduced to the man who would become my youth pastor for the rest of my middle and high school years, and really even through college. And he showed me the value of a relationship with an adult who cared for young people and wanted to point them to Jesus. And for those 6 years, he just pursued getting to know me and pointing me to Jesus. And even when I would come home from college, we would go to lunch and just talk and catch up, and he would kind of check in on me. And I learned from him and those really who did serve alongside of him. He wasn't just a lone ranger, but the others that he pulled around himself, that you can have a huge impact on young people if you just wedge yourself into their life and love them, care about them. There's certain parts of my job that I have to do, and there's certain parts of my job that I love to do. And one of the things that I have come to love, particularly here at the Academy, is as I get to stand in front of students and teach 4 or 5 days a week and have influence in their lives, occasionally they show up in my office. And I have 2 chairs that many of them have populated over the years. And some of those conversations are as goofy as could be, lighthearted, and some of those conversations I think are really life-changing moments where they take something they've heard in Bible class and lean into it and begin to truly think of it for themselves. And so being able to have that one-on-one time because of classroom time is something that I will never forget. So there are hard days in life, and we know from the Bible that we live in a Genesis 3 world, it's been called. There is now just difficulty in work and in life. And so the Bible informs us that we should expect that. We're not promised an easy day or a bed of roses every day. But one of the things that we find through Scripture and through our own personal experience is that the Lord meets us in those days and can often give us unexpected joys and blessings where we might not have imagined. And so a lot of days can start hard, or there's a lot going on that is vying for your attention. But then the Lord uses particular moments to bring those joys. And we know His mercies are new every morning. And I can certainly attest to that here in my teaching role. If my students could see inside my heart, I think at times there's this chasm that they see me as the one up front who is labeled Bible teacher, and then they see themselves as students who are trying to learn the Bible. And what I would want them to know is that I am just like them. I have sat in their seats. I have experienced the things they experience. I have felt what they felt, and I'm a few years ahead of them. And so I am on a race the same way they are. I'm just perhaps a few laps ahead. And so I am trying to, with the experience and whatever knowledge I have gained, much the way the Apostle Paul said, follow me as I try to follow Christ. I'm not better than them. I'm not above them. I'm just a few steps ahead. If I were to tell you something unexpected about me, I could go back to things from my childhood where I would have said, my dad raised me up to be a sporting clays shooter. And so for my 8th birthday, I did not receive a basketball or a soccer ball. I received a shotgun. And so a couple years after receiving that, I won a Virginia State Championship. And I have the trophy to prove it. The other unknown thing about that is I was the only one shooting in my class. So it was a guaranteed win. Teaching is a fascinating thing. I think any educator would tell you that you really do learn more about material by trying to teach it. And so one of the things that I've had the privilege to do here at Landmark is I've been able to teach from Genesis all the way through Revelation now in a few different curricula. And so I've been able to see things from different perspectives and teach to different students. And so over the years, I've had the built-in opportunity to just be forced to be in the Bible, learning the big story of the Bible. And I really find that perhaps the biggest student in all of my years of teaching has been me. And I have benefited much from that. So if a student came to me 20 years from now and we had the opportunity to catch up and to hear what has happened in their life, one thing I know is true about all of us is that over 20 years, life happens. And it reminds me of a story that I've just finished teaching in Bible class in Matthew 7, where Jesus finishes the Sermon on the Mount and he concludes by saying, "If any man hears these words of mine and does them, he is likened unto one who builds his life upon a rock. And then when the winds come and the waves come and the rain beats down upon it, he will stand because he was built upon a rock." And he contrasts that with the one who hears his words but doesn't do them. And that guy experiences the same winds, the same waves, the same rains, which tells us that those things are constant. There's going to be winds and waves and rains in our lives. But the guy that didn't hear and do what Jesus said built his life on sand. And when those things came, his house and life collapsed. So I say all that to say, if I saw a student in 20 years, I would hope they've told me they've had 20 years to build on Jesus.